Alright guys, welcome to a special sick edition of Coach's Corner. Yes, for those of you that will be watching the video or the highlights that are on, yes, I'm sick and I've been teaching all day in the water with those little germ factories that are children, and of course that's why I've lost my voice. So you'll have to bear with me today. I'm running out of tea, but I'll do my best. So today we'll be talking about going from the LFR hero, and this is a bit of an extension from the podcast that we did a little while ago on the starting zone. And make sure you guys follow them; they were fantastic. I'll be hopefully going back to the starting zone in the next little while. They've invited me back, so I mean, I'd love to be there. So anyway, we're going to be talking about going from that LFR 0, that LFR hero, to normal raider, to heroic raider, to a mythic raider. And I mean, let's say you start. I mean, you want to be there. You've seen Sparty raid, you've seen Towley raid, you've seen Salute Bag, and you've seen those awesome guys. You've seen Clipper raid, you've seen Shuttle. You've seen all the really awesome faces of the community, and you've seen them raid, how much passion they have for it, and how much they love doing it, and you want to do it. There is nothing stopping you. You know, first of all, there's nothing stopping any one of you from becoming mythic raiders. You just have to put in the effort, put in the time, and you're all capable of doing it. You know, I'll cover. Othio, thanks for subbing, much appreciated. Lost my train of thought here. Damn it, Othio. So there's nothing stopping any of you guys. You know, I've seen a lot of raiders that are, you know, use only one hand, or you know, have some kind of disabilities or impairments, or one leg or one arm, or are blind or are deaf or are mute. All mythic raiders. 70-year-old grandmother. Every one of them are capable of mythic raiders, right? Completing legendary quests, you know, fantastic players. It just takes a lot of time. It is a learned trait. So we're going to talk about LFR. So you've picked up the game. You've got your little garrison here. You start off in Warlords of Draenor, and you've got your garrison, right? It's up to level 100 now. Now what do you do? Well, I mean, you start doing dungeons. You start gearing yourselves up. You start doing all these little dungeons here on normal, then heroic. You start working on your legendary ring, which eventually becomes something like this here. You do those quests, and eventually you get into LFR. And now, LFR, I mean, it is good and bad. It's great for the really casual players. Let's say you only log in once every little while. And, you know, like you queue up as a DPS. How long does it take you guys, those of you in chat here? 40 minutes as a DPS to queue? 30 minutes? As a healer, it might take me 20 minutes. As a tank, I'm pretty sure you guys get pretty much instant queues. So ideally, go as a group together with these LFRs. So looking for raid kind of groups. Let's pull one up here. So raid finder, let's say I try to queue up for Black Ant's Crucible. Let's see how long it takes. And Black Ant's Crucible is the last LFR right now. That's currently the game with the most up-to-date one. 54 minutes. That is insane. 54 minutes. So you're off, you know, playing with yourself for 54 whole minutes. Have fun with that. Let's try a healer queue here. Let's try a healer queue. How long will the healer queue take me? 53 minutes as well. So this is part of the reason that I do LFR queues with my friends, with my guildies, with my stream viewers. Partly because we all have a common goal in mind. We want to become better. We want to have a lot of fun. And it's not just a super casual game for us. We love doing what we do here. And when you queue with more people, that time goes down dramatically. So I can bring, you know, 23 people in, and the queue time is really, really quick, which makes it a ton easier. So you start doing your LFRs, you start collecting your gear, you start, you know, clearing through every single thing. So you do all the LFRs currently available to you right here. Walled City, Ark and Sanctum. These three are from High Mall. These four are from Blackrock Foundry. And you get your gear, you get some little bit of experience. Now you see the encounters for what they are, right? Like, it is a watered down version. Kargath, for example, the first boss in High Mall. This boss right here. Now he, you know, charges towards you, he does some damage, but on a raid finder, he sort of like tickles you and like does a pillow fight. It doesn't really do the damage, doesn't punish you, but it's there to show you the abilities. It's there to really show the casual players, hey, you know, this is a little bit of glimpse of raiding. These are the abilities you might encounter. You know, it won't be super sissy pants, you know, Kargath hitting his little feather against you. It'll be Kargath with a blade, right? It'll be tough, and it'll be really hard to do when he does his Berserker Rush against you. or he impales you or whatever, or there's fire pillars, right? Or there's tigers in these pits and you can't jump down. Because if you fall down a tiger pit, you'll actually die rather than a tiger pit like sort of like nibbling on you, going meow meow, and then it spits you out. So it's a bit of a watered down version, but it's there for the casual player that wants to play once in a little while, that doesn't have a lot of time to commit to the game, and that's totally fine. You know, I'm sure once I'm done Mythic writing as well myself, I've been doing it for 10 years, I'm sure that I will also be a casual LFR hero where I'll just be retired, right? Playing from Florida in my retirement home, talking about the good old days of Vanilla and BC and Wrath and all the other expansions I played 20 years later. You know, that's whatever you have time for. So LFR is not bad. It's a good little introduction to get you to raiding, but you want more. There is something more that drives you. You guys want more from this game, and you want to experience some actual content. So you don't want to do just LFRs. You're not content with that. You want to do normals. So the first thing from normals, well, how do I do normals? Really, there's two main ways to get to do normals. Either you find a pickup group, which is either through, you know, the open raid, open queue stuff, or the custom groups, or trade chat, right? Those are the just pickup groups, right? Like a pickup game of hockey called Shinny. You just find a group of ragtag adventurers like yourself. Hopefully you guys have the skills, the necessary knowledge, and you go. The other option is, of course, to find a guild. Now, guilds are fantastic. Some guilds, you know, better than others with some respects. But I mean, to me, a guild is a family or a community. It's not just, you know, a raiding guild. Some guilds are just a raiding guild and they're just there to hang around. But you should ideally find a guild first, you know, that home, because it'll give you more opportunities for raiding, because you'll have more friends. You know, you'll have people in guild chat asking, hey, who wants to do a raid? And you're like, me, I want to go. So, you know, that'll give you more opportunities for raiding there. Open invite to DJ? No, not yet. There's no tiger pit in LFR. I know, that's so sad. You know, I was hoping there would be. I was hoping there would be, but I guess not. So with normal raiding, you got to find a guild. And where do you find guilds? Trade chat is one option. You may find the average guild in trade chat or on your realm forums, for example. So if I pull up my realm forums right now, I'll show you guys here in chat as well as what I'm showing here. Okay, so these are the Storm Rage forums. You know, here are the Storm Rage forums right now. Lots of people looking for guilds. This Paladin's apparently got 3 threads looking for a guild. New to Storm Rage looking for a guild. You know, somebody else looking for a guild here. You know, this is something you might want to post if you're looking for a guild. Good afternoon. Let's read his post. So Shazam here. This person's level 26. So someone relatively new to the game. I've had it tuned before, but never got it to max level before deleting her and just heading off to another server. Back to Storm Rage. I'm a long-time player who's been around Warcraft forever. If you want to talk about raiding experience, just chat in general, feel free to add me in game. Cool. So you talk to this person in game, and you recruit them for your guild. Here, let's see. Overrated is recruiting. Let's click on their little thing here. So here's a, you know, here's a guild. They raid Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That's pretty, you know, decent, pretty casual. 7:30 until 10:30 Eastern. That's not bad. You know, that's a pretty casual group. They do normals, heroics. Looks like they started doing Mythic as well. But they're, you know, a pretty average heroic-ish kind of guild for 6 hours, and they're an active friendly progression guild, which is great. I mean, that's awesome. Those are the kinds of guilds you want to start looking for. Maybe not just yet, but you want to get some experience first. Now, there's a whole catch-22 here where people will not accept you unless you have experience. But how do you get experience without getting into a guild or into a raid, right? Like, it's just a catch-22 there. Same thing when you have a job or you're trying to find a job. Well, this place won't hire me because I don't have the experience. Well, how do I gain the friggin' experience if people don't hire me? You have to put in the time yourself and put in the work. So how to gain the experience? Well, through those pickup groups, through those raids, through those kinds of things. You know, when we do normals, so you do a normal with your pickup group, you kill a few bosses, get some experience, you hopefully get some loot, and hopefully it's a fair loot system that they do. But that's how you gain experience, a little bit at a time. Don't expect to go from, I just rated LFR to, I'm jumping into heroics and mythics right away. That's almost never happens. Almost never ever happens. It is so rare for that to happen. So you start off in the normals, you start going boss by boss by boss with your guild, with your very casual guild. and maybe you kill 7 or 8 out of 10 of the, let's say, Blackrock Foundry bosses right now. So the Blackrock Foundry boss is here. You kill most of them, and you feel like you're the best player in that guild, and everybody's holding you back, or you've learned everything you can learn from this guild. Now, I mean, they're a very casual guild. People come and go all the time. You don't have a ton of loyalty, and I know people sort of don't like doing this. Like, you make some friends, and you want to go on to bigger, brighter things. You want to move on to heroic rating now. Take a step back, okay? Take a step back. To really get into normal rating, first of all, I should have mentioned this earlier, you need to do a little bit of prep work. I mean, in LFR, it's very casual. You go through these bosses, and, you'll sort of learn what the boss does. Orgorgy, he rolls around. Okay, then I got to kill some boxes. Okay, so you have a general understanding of the fight. When you get into normals, and you're getting that 6, 7, 8 experience, make sure you do some research on the fights. And how much research is that? Well, watch a video on it. If you watch a 5-minute video on any one of these fights, you will have more than enough knowledge than the average normal raider. That is fantastic. If you read the dungeon journal, it gives you good understanding of what the abilities do. As a healer, I play healer, what should I do on Orgurger? Shielding and using damage mitigating abilities on the closest targets of Acid Torrent can decrease damage dealt to the rest of the targets. So what does Acid Torrent do here? So I sort of look at the ability, and I'm a very logical person. So it hits the closest person with physical damage, and that physical damage is transposed into nature damage onto the rest of the raid. Okay, so if I use a cooldown like Hand of Sacrifice, like Iron Bark, like what else? Pain Suppression onto that tank, they take less damage from the physical aspect, making my raid take less damage. That makes sense? Sounds very logical. And that's still pretty above the normal and heroic kind of rating. When you are normal rating, you want to maybe commit to a certain amount of days. So, and I mentioned this example a little while ago. I have a casual group in my guild that are retired and casual raiders. They raid 1 night a week, Sunday evenings from I don't know, what time do they raid? 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. or something like that, or 7 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. And they go through normals, they make regular progression, they're raiding with people that they've been friends with for a long time. They don't have the schedule or the ability in their life to commit to multiple days of raiding. But they do 1 night a week. They've cleared all of normals now. They're working on heroics. They're working on clearing heroics slowly but steadily. And that's fine. That's what they're happy with. They're having a good time doing it. They're getting loot and experience and having a lot of fun, which is what you should be doing as a game. So with those guys, that's totally fine. When you get to normal rating, you might have to commit to, let's say, your Sundays. Within reason, like I know sometimes you might have a hockey game or something on a Sunday night, or you're playing some beer league shinny or whatever. Or you might have some other, I don't know what other, you Americans in your football during the season, or people that play baseball. You might have sports games, or you have a birthday or whatever, and that's fine, right? You're not expected to be there 100% of the time. Things come up. Most raiding guilds will understand if real life happens, it is totally fine. If your car breaks down, if you're stuck at work, most kids understand that real life happens. We're all not a bunch of, angry little kids. Like, you must be there every single time. You must have no life with the rest of us. We understand. Like, it's only 1 day a week, 2 days a week. Things happen. If you guys ever play any other team sports, same kind of thing. You won't always be around every single time. So getting to normal rating, you need to know a little bit about the encounters. You need to commit to a certain day, and the things you want to start putting to practice. Making sure your gear is all enchanted and gemmed. So you want to get to normal rating. Well, what enchants do you have? What do you mean an enchant? Why do I need enchants? Enchants cost 1,500 gold, right? Well, tell you what. Enchants are like you're trying to play hockey, you're trying to play football or soccer for you Americans, and you put on your skates or your shoes, but you don't tie them up, right? You go out there with the wrong size gloves or the wrong size pads or things that don't fit you, right? You want to play your best. Like, it makes no sense to go out there on the ice with untied skates. You're going to break an ankle, you're going to hurt yourself. I mean, you won't hurt yourself here, but you want to put in the same amount of effort. In the same sense, you do want to enchant, what is it called? Like your neck, for example. Not this one, that's a bad example. Whoops. You do want to enchant your neck, for example. Your rings here. You know, you do want to enchant these things for your main spec. It might cost you a little bit of gold, but it is worth it. Every little bit counts. A lot of you guys as normal and heroic raiders don't understand this, but every little thing you do makes a huge difference. Every little piece, like every little gem. Which piece do I have gemmed here? There's a gem. Gem in my boots. That gem makes a huge difference. Over the course of an entire night, over the course of an entire fight, that 50 crit is huge. Absolutely huge. Because it may save somebody's life. And if somebody lives, so let's say I get a crit, right? It gives me more healing, it gives me a lower mana cost, heal, all that stuff. I've saved somebody's life. That person is now alive for the entire fight instead of dying, and then I have more DPS. It's always a domino effect. So having things enchanted, like your weapons, that makes a big difference too, right? Having that proc, that crit, that mana restore, whatever you want. Those things do matter as well. What else here? What else do I have enchanted? Your cloak, for example. You know, same kind of stuff here. I get to run faster. It's 10% more speed. Why wouldn't you want that? You do want to enchant your gear. You know, if you can't afford the best enchants, that's fine. If you can't afford the 50 stat gems, then why don't you go 35 stat gems? Put in some effort, right? Put in some effort. But it goes a long way to potential guilds when you're putting in that effort yourself. You know, gold is not hard to make, guys. For those of you who are arguing, you know, gold is so hard. It's not. It's not hard to make. If you farm the old Cataclysm raids, if you do your treasure hunter missions, like I get 1,000 gold a day easily from each character. Just logging into my garrisons, doing treasure hunter missions every single day, 1,000 gold. I mean, it can pay for your subscription. You put in a little bit of work, and it's a self-sustaining little system for you. For those of you that play the auction house, same kind of thing. Enchants and gems and things like that are not, you know, out of the reach of the average person. They're more than doable. So, now for those of you that are officers or raiders in your guild, I've got a cool little website for you. Now, this thing, I'll show you what it is here. This website, one sec here, I'm showing this right. Yeah, this little website, this shows you all of your raiders. So this shows me, I don't think it's updated with my most recent one, but this shows me all of my raiders' item level, what items are epic, what their item level is, what part of the legendary quest line they're on, here, Valkyrie is missing a glyph. So-and-so is missing a gem. Like, it'll tell you all that stuff. Your distribution of your classes, and I promote this website pretty damn frequently. It's guildaudit.com. You basically make your own raid group based off your guild and go from there. It makes things a lot easier for tracking, babysitting your raiders. You know, not everybody remembers to enchant their, because they forget or whatever. You know, I've reminded some of my own raiders, hey, you forgot to enchant your neck. It's been 2 weeks. What's up, man? What's up? Get that stuff together. So guildaudit.com is a fantastic little website for auditing your guild. It's not like, you know, you're auditing them like it's a friggin' IRS. It's, hey, we got to put our best foot forward here, put in the most effort, and just fully get geared and gemmed up. So put in that effort going to normal rating. You know, and as you get into normal and heroic rating, one thing you do want to watch out for is make sure you have the right glyphs and talents and spec for that encounter. So most of you would know, for example, mages. Mages do really well with their tier 17 4-piece bonus. Fire mages do really well, sorry, with that tier 17 14 bonus. They do great on multi-target fights, as well as fights that have a lot more movement. Arcane mages, they do incredible against fights that have very little movement or single target encounters. And frost mages, I mean, they're a little bit mobile, but they do less damage overall. I mean, that's all relative depending on how well you play a certain spec. But you should be ideally spec'd for the right talents. So here's an example. These are my talents for Holy. This is generally what most paladins are spec'ing, depending on the encounter again. So if you ever see a Holy Paladin spec'd with Selfless Healer or Sacred Shield, probably not the ideal talent. You know, they're probably missing something. They haven't done their research. Maybe you guys want to educate them. You know, you probably should be Eternal Flame. Eternal Flame is the go-to talent right now. You know, some talents don't matter. Speed of Light's pretty fantastic. Fist of Justice, not a huge deal because this is all like a CC tier. Divine Purpose is really good with the tier 17 4-piece bonus. This one right here. Otherwise, you know, players will go with Sanctified Wrath. Holy Prism or Light's Hammer. Paladins, for example, should not be speccing into Execution Sentence if they are holy. I only remember one encounter in all of Mists of Pandaria, I think, that I've ever used Execution Sentence on. And of course, Beacon of Faith. So you're pretty standard talent setup. So you should know what talents you should have in general. Like maybe not on a fight by fight basis. That's fine. If you're a normal and heroic raider and you just want to keep one talent set the entire fight, play one spec the entire raid, that's fine too. But in general, you should be using, try your best for the best spec. Well, how do you know what the best spec is? How do you know? What resources are out there to find you the best spec? I'll tell you one. Noxic is not one. Please do not use Nox. For the love of everything that is holy, do not use Noxic. Why? Why, Sparta? I use Noxic all the time. Noxic has a lot of misinformation. It is a very pretty website, but the information is either inaccurate, really outdated, or just made up. Like, they pull shit out of their ass. And like here it is. Play a paladin like this. Choose these talents, because we told you so. Well, how do you know what you know? I ask you guys here on stream, how do you know what you know? How do you know that the spec you're doing right now is the best one? How do you know that talent is right for that fight? Who told you? Oh, some guy in LFR, some guy in trade chat? How do you know what they told you is accurate? Because they read it off some website called Noxic. It's critical thinking, guys. You need to challenge your way of thought, challenge what you're hearing. Okay, so let's say I'm told as a paladin, you should be running Sacred Shield, for example. They say you should be running Sacred Shield over Eternal Flame. Okay, sounds good. Why? Tell me why I should do that. Just because, Sparty's a paladin does not mean, Sparty tells you why, Sparty tells you to go to Sacred Shield, right? Why? There has to be math behind it. There's a lot of great theory crafters and mathematicians out there that say, based off this fight, this spec is ideal. You will do the most healing or the most damage with this talent because of this. It's proven math. Or you'll talk to really good players. And now some websites like Icy Veins, I know Shuttle, Midwinter's got a new one coming up as well, MMO Champion, those are really good resources because they have a lot of theory crafters, and theory crafting is like basically they're researching the number crunching behind all the talents. For the normal and heroic raider, you don't have to worry about yourselves behind those things. Just understand why and what information is good and what information is not so good. And if you use Noxic, that's fine. Try to stay away from Noxic. Try to use other resources. I'm not trying to diss you because you use Noxic. Some people don't know. We were all noobs at some point, right? Some of us didn't know any better. Well, Midwinter Set is still hush-hush. I can't talk about it yet. Or I don't know if it's hush-hush yet or not. But there's a lot of good resources here, right? So here, let me link a lot of resources. I've got a great little link here. Summon Stone Masteries. There we go. So there's a great thread here. Where is it? The big list of class resources. Now this is thanks to one of my Swedish subs, Quipster. I wanted to do this list for a long time, but he actually put it together. Nameless Michael, thanks for resubbing. Much appreciated. 16 months in a row. Cheers to you, Nameless. This list here, basically, this is most of the best resources here that are credible, that are good resources for learning your talents, your glyphs. Lots of reading to do here. There's a bunch of druid ones for tanks, feral stuff, resto stuff, threads, monks, warriors, paladins, different specs, hunters. I think the hunter one needs to be updated as well with what's his name's guide, Azerothian or whatever his name is. Some really good guides here. Sparkugs, one of the best sources too, right? There's other little blogs here, healing blogs. I mean, there's a lot of good resources here. I'm going to update this as I go, as I spend like another day going through all the really good resources, and you guys give me some that you use. I'll update this. But this is a great little thread here. Feel free to bookmark it. That shows you, it's good theory crafting. Like these are top players in the world that are sharing their knowledge with you. They've crunched the numbers. They are good players. They've done some of the highest rating in the world. And they say, you know what? This is what worked for me. It works really well because of this reason. Not because, it's a very pretty looking site, but because it's the right thing to do. Like it's the right spec. Because the math supports it. Yeah, be sure to add, feel free. If guys, add to that threading. Holy Boosh, is pretty good. I've been recommended to me a few paladins. Yeah, Holy Bush is amazing. He's one of the biggest paladin theory crafters for Holy Paladins. He has a lot of great spreadsheets and theory crafting and stuff. And I know there's like other really top players, like Aladia's on Twitter is summoning. I can't remember if it's Summon Stone is Midwinter stuff. As Hortharian. Who care? I don't care what his name is, Clipper. I give zero crap what his name is. I just don't care right now. Yeah, Skullflower's going to have a podcast soon. Like, these top players want to share their knowledge. Why? Because you guys are the next generation of raiders. You guys. You think, like, you know, I recruit somebody and they come out of their mother's, you know, vagina, gamer, you know, gamepad in hand or keyboard in hand, and they're just ready to go. No. It takes time to be a good raider. It's a learned skill. It's a learned trait. Anyway, I went on a tangent there. There's a lot of great resources. Look them up. Talk to other players. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Go into normal and heroic raiding. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay? There's a lot of resources. Everybody's here to help. Everybody here in the stream chat is super helpful. There's a lot of YouTube guides out there. Even Blizz has finally put out these, I guess a year ago, these how-to guides, how to play your class at the basic level, because they introduced those boosts and people have no idea how to play their characters. Yeah, I'm a little sick, just a little bit. Lost my voice and sick. So, moving on to heroic rating. So, you've done your research, you've done your spec, you've done, you know, that kind of stuff. You've got a little bit of experience under your belt. Guess what? You know, in normal rating, that's all sufficient. In heroic rating, the abilities are the exact same. So, going from normal to heroic, it's one big step up in terms of gear, in terms of damage, in terms of HP. Everything is just a lot harder. There's nothing new. I mean, there's absolutely nothing new. For those of you struggling on heroic blackhand, I know a number of you guys are, nothing new from normal blackhand. The damage just ramped up a lot higher. These encounters are a lot more gear dependent than previous tiers. The higher gear you have, the better. So the damage, much more punishing. If you stand in fire in heroic, you will die, you know, much more quickly than standing it in an LFR or normals. Mechanics are just the same. Nothing has changed, ever. So when you go into heroic rating, you really should have a better understanding of those fights as well. So in normal, you know, it might have been fine to research the encounter, watch a video, you know, look at the dungeon journal a couple times. You get a rough understanding of it, you know, you'll wing it, you'll be fine. In heroic rating, you should have a much better, much more fluid, and much more in-depth understanding of the fight and how it relates to your class. One second, I probably need to reload here. Damn it. Journal's bugged. Damn it. Damn it. Do I have the abilities here? Okay. So you should know, you know, what these Savage Vines do, right? Yeah, you know how to dispel them, but how does, like, should you ever dispel them or not dispel them, or could you use Blessing of Freedom on them, for example, to save yourself a dispel because dispel has an 8-second cooldown? Maybe that's one decision you want to be making. So you just look at the different encounters and their abilities and how they relate to your class. You know, here's Pierced Armor. Are you tracking Pierced Armor on your raid frames? What the hell is tracking things? You can track debuffs, right? Like, if the tanks know that the trade, you know, at 2 or 3 stacks of a certain counter, you as a healer might want to know that as well, because as a tank, that when they have more and more stacks of something like this, where they take 50% more damage, that might be important to you, because you might have to heal them a lot harder, or potentially use more cooldowns on these guys as well. Heroic Blackhand's kind of a bad example. The mechanics change. People, you know, it's a little bit more punishing. I think it's a really highly tuned encounter, Roshi, but the mechanics are exactly the same, right? Same thing with Orgorger, same thing with, what's it called? Hans and Franz, for example, all those fights. Same mechanics, much more punishing. So really should have a better understanding of those encounters. Now, when you get into heroic rating, you might have to have a little bit more of a time commitment. So we talked a little bit earlier. Was that what progress site that I had? Maybe not. So we talked a little bit, or I guess that wasn't what progress site. It was this guild here. So this is a heroic guild. They raid 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Sounds good. Now, when you get into heroic rating, you may have to put in 2 days, maybe 3 days of time a week to raid. And it sounds like a pretty huge commitment. You know, I got so many things to do. I've got like kids and work and a family and a wife and like a mistress, and I've got like so many things to do. I know it's tough to juggle, you know, your million love lives and your million wives or girls or whatever. But when you're part of a team, it's sort of expected that you will show up, right? You'll make those sacrifices, or you'll rearrange your schedule. People are depending on you. Okay, you know, I went into work today. My voice is so sore because I was depending on people to show up for work, despite them being sick. You're sick, you know, that sucks. That sucks. You're sick. Guess who else is sick? I had to cover for you now. Right? Dependability, loyalty, reliability. Those are hard traits to find in a raider. You'll have some raiders that are, you know, that show up, I don't know, half the time because they couldn't be bothered. A little thing about respect, a little bit of a tangent. You guys have 20 other raiders, right? If you ever played a team sport, you are the goalie for your team. You are the hockey goalie, the soccer goalie, the quarterback, whatever. If you don't show up, your team forfeits. That is a shitty feeling for your team. You give up. You know, the rest of your team could be out there with their NFL wives or their you know, their hot hockey wives or whatever, but now you forfeit because you could be bothered to show up. You know, things happen. Things happen. Sometimes, like again, you get hit by a bus or you get sick, like crazy deathly sick, or you get stuck at work or you get a flat tire or something. Guess what? We all have these smartphones. Just make a post, text a friend, hey, I'm running late. Sounds good. Give us a heads up. We're not going to set the rate on time. We're going to set the rate half an hour later. Out of respect to everybody else, right? Because we need that person. You are that relied on in a heroic, you know, and to be Mythic raid. They need you. They need you as that player. Don't let your team down. Okay, you'll learn a lot more about being a team player from raiding. If you've played sports like golf not so much a team sport, but if you've played games like you know, rugby, the hockey, the soccer, the footballs, whatever, the curlings, those are all team sports. So you really need to put in the effort and really make an effort to be there. Like, my raiders, I'm in a Mythic raiding guild, right? I lead a Mythic raiding guild. I do not expect 100% attendance. I know that is unreasonable. I know people will have, you know, a girlfriend's birthday, or, you know, kids will happen, or whatever, or they've got an emergency, or, you know, somebody dies in the family. I know those things happen. It is unreasonable for me to expect 100% attendance from everybody. I'd like that. I mean, that'd be awesome. I would expect closer to, you know, 90% attendance. If you miss one raid out of the month, that's fine. You know, if you miss 2 raids, I mean, things happen, right? But it shouldn't be a constant thing where tonight I'm going to either, you know what, tonight I can't be bothered. Friggin' The Bachelor's on today. I couldn't be bothered to raid. Screw these turd nuggets. They can fend for themselves. Well, they can't. Their game's forfeiting because you can't be there because you have to watch the friggin' Bachelor. Goddamn women and their Bachelor. So silly. So, put in the effort, be there, show up. Commit to a schedule. If you can commit to only 2 days a week, try your damnedest to be there 2 days a week. If you can commit to 3 days, you want to do 3 days, that's fine too. The more or less you want to raid, totally up to you. Now, going into a guild, can somebody look, okay, I need a volunteer from the stream here. I need you guys, let's say you're a normal raider going into heroics, so you've cleared normals, maybe a couple heroics, or you are a heroic, early heroic raider, you want to start going into high-end heroics, or maybe starting Mythic raiding. Can you guys link me your armory? Just somebody post your armory, it's all whitelisted. I'll pick like 1 or 2 here out of the chat here. And yeah, just for our next little step here. So going to heroic raiding, you now want to start looking for that heroic guild, right? That heroic guild, alliance, score doesn't matter. I don't care here. Just link me your armories, you damn people. Miranda, go for it. Miranda, let's see. Okay, and I'm going to load up Wild Progress in the meantime. Oh, these people, Zoxic. Zoxic rhymes with Noxic. I don't know if I can do you. Sorry, man. There's a person named Midski in my chat. Is that the Polish version of midgets? Everybody's doing it. Okay, who do I choose here? Let's choose... Okay, I should have prepped this ahead of time. Okay, no, I can't use Ganlords. Ganlords are too expensive. Or, sorry, too high experience here. Let's see, how much boost may be? Heroic. You've already cleared heroic. Too many of you guys do too much. I'm trying to find a person here. Maybe this Midski person. Who are you, Midski? Polish midgets. That's hilarious. Oh, it's an EU. My EU battle that's for some reason takes forever. Ariana, no. Elephant eggs. I'm getting an elephant eggs 404 here. I can't load your character. Let's see, who else can I pick? Dynasty Junior. Perfect. Okay, this is a great one. Okay, this is a great example. Okay, so this is Dynasty Junior from our chat here, and it's just a viewer, so a regular viewer. So here's an example. This is your armory. Let's take a quick look at Dynasty Junior's armory. We're going to pick apart. Anything missing enchants? Nope. Missing any... Oh, yeah, you're missing an enchant here. So Dynasty Junior, that's something you want to work on. Are your rings enchanted? You've got a 710 ring! What are you doing? That's the best ring you can get, right? 715 ring? I can't remember. Okay, close to the best ring. Whatever. Where's the best ring? I can't remember. Enchant your ring, man. What else? You're never going to replace this thing. Enchant it. Weapon? At least this is enchanted. So first of all, enchant your stuff. Going for that, let's go find a guild for a Dynasty Junior here. So his name is Meritor. Meritor is a goblin mage on the Caldere server. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm so sick. So he is a 7 out of 10. He or she, I don't know. 715, that's what I thought. Enchant it then. Enchant it, you damn bastard. So 7 out of 10 normal raider. Okay? Wants to get into heroic raiding. If you're 7 out of 10 normal and you think you're ready for the next bit of heroics, why don't you look for an entry-level heroic guild? And by entry-level, I mean you've done, I don't know, a couple... they've done a couple heroics and you want to join that. I wouldn't apply from 7 out of 10 normal to a Mythic caliber guild unless you're fully ready for that. It is a huge jump up, and I might have somebody interview later on about their experience going from LFR to normal to heroic to Mythic. If Nate's around. I know Nate, maybe you're around here somewhere. So he's 7 out of 10 normal. Let's find him a potential guild here. Like, I don't want you to leave your current guild, but here's an example of how to find that guild. Now, one of the best guild looking for guild tools is WoW Progress. This thing is amazing. So, since you're on the US servers, right? On where are you? Not mid. What was your damn armory thing here? Not this. Was it this? Did I just kill your? Oh, there's Meritor. Okay. So you are 670 equipped, that's fine, that's close to my alt as well, or my warlock. Yeah, so you're 7 normal, and you're on the US server. So here's WoW Progress. This is a fantastic tool for tracking people's progression, but also for recruiting. This is really good for recruiting and finding guilds. So let's say a Meritor wants to be a Horde guild. For the Horde, for the Horde. As I'm sick here. Let's pick a Horde guild. Actually, sorry, one sec. First, let's choose US. Okay, so we're going to look in the US guilds first, not EU guilds because you can't transfer, unfortunately. So, this is all the guilds sorted by their progression. Let's look for a Horde guild that raids, I don't know, like Meritor, I'm guessing you want to raid 2 nights a week, 1 to 2 nights a week, right? You still want to be in that semi-hardcore, semi-casual kind of environment. You want to do heroics. You want to do the next step up. So we're going to find a guild for you that is Horde, raids 1 or 2 days a week, speaks English, and is looking for a mage. LF Mage. Let's click Go. Awesome. These are all the guilds looking for a mage that are Horde and raid 1 or 2 days a week. Awesome. So what we talked about earlier, you're not ready for these guilds. Be honest, I mean no disrespect, you are not ready for this kind of guild yet. It's a huge jump up from what you're used to. You scroll over here to some of these other guilds that have completed, 1 Mythic, maybe heroics. Here we go. Now this is a little bit your style right now. So you cleared, what did you clear here? You cleared 3 heroics and none yet on Blackrock Foundry. Maybe you want to start looking at some of these guilds. I mean, Moonguard, you might have to RP a little bit more. You might have to visit the Goldshire Inn a little bit. But some of these guilds might be right up your alley here. So, here, Dawn of Valor on Spinebreaker. They've killed 1 more heroic boss than you did, and they're an entry-level heroic guild. Let's click on their guild here. They're recruiting all classes. They raid on Saturdays from 9 p.m. until 12. 1 day a week. Oh, sorry, and Sundays from 4 to 8. So 2 days a week they raid. They're looking for all kinds of classes, which is, that's awesome. That's great. There's not a lot of information about this guild. I don't know more about them. I'd have to talk to them. There's this little website. I don't know who these people are, so I'm not going to click them in case it's like a meat spin website, which I don't really want to show on my stream. Let's look for another guild here. Let's look for... ooh, whatever happened to good Latin names? Good Latin names like this. Okay, here we go. Here, this is a little bit more specific. So they're 2 out of 7 heroic. This might not be a huge jump for you because it is a 6 out of 10 normal guild. But let's say Dynasty Junior guild's falling apart. Most players don't want to make the jump up. I'm losing my voice here. Rather than going down. You've killed more bosses than these guys. Maybe this isn't the right guild for you, but let's read about them anyway. So they're 2 days a week. These are the classes they're looking for. They have a medium need for a mage. We're a casual guild that welcomes the interest in PvE, PvP, RP, or just having a good time in the game. Sounds good. We've existed as a guild in one game or another for over a decade. Oh, that's impressive. We have 3 basic rules. Have fun, respect your guildmates, and kill some alliance. I don't like that one. If interested, please apply at our website. So let's just skip this group. But anyway, you look for guilds higher than your progression in general. Most players want to jump up higher than progression. Let me click on Miranda here, because Miranda's one of our fun little ladies. And hello, Mirandy. Okay, Miranda. Let's take a look at Miranda's armory. Oh, okay, this is a pretty good one too. So let's pull up Miranda's armory. And Miranda is Alliance. This is where I like it, Alliance. So, currently in a guild named McPonald's. Get it? McPonald's. She plays a mage here. Let's look at her stuff. Look, enchanted. 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 I'm guessing she's a heroic raider. I'm guessing she knows what it takes to be a heroic raider. She's got 2 of the best specs. I don't know about talents here because I know it depends on the fight here. She's got fire and arcane. Fantastic Miranda. Let's take a look at her progression. She's cleared 6 out of 7 heroic, which is most heroic raiders because Imperator was a giant bitch. She's killed all but normal Blackhand, and she's killed a majority of the heroic encounters. You know what? She thinks she's ready for a Blackhand killing guild. Or she wants to go to a 9 out of 10 heroic guild so she can kill Blackhand herself and earn her way up. So, now Miranda's on Feathermoon. Miranda doesn't have a lot of money. She plays Warcraft. She subs with her gold because she makes a lot of, gold selling gnomes and Moonguard. So, let's look for a guild just on Feathermoon here. Just on Feathermoon. Guilds, progress. Let's go to US again. Perfect. Now, we do want to check on realms. One second, let me go to realms here. Look for Feathermoon. Perfect. Oh, it's an RP realm. Oh, well then. Yeah, so looking for Alliance because we belong to the Alliance. You want to find a guild that... You know what, Miranda? Your schedule's free. You don't care how many days a week guild raids. You don't care. We're going to leave that open. They speak English. That's what Miranda speaks. And she is a... What were you again, Miranda? Where are you? Are you a shaman? She's a mage. So same thing here. She would be a mage. Let's click go. Awesome. These are all the guilds on Feathermoon. This is only Feathermoon because she can't afford the server transfer off. That are decently progressed. So she wants to get into her, finish up heroics, maybe get into mythics, maybe. Scarlet Aristocracy here. This might be right up her alley. So this is slightly just above her current rating experience. They killed Heroic Blasphemers a couple days ago. They killed Mythic Kargath as well. That sounds pretty good. They're semi-hardcore. They raid 3 days a week. She's like, yeah, you know what? I can raid 3 days a week. Sorry, that was my girl voice, but with my dead voice. They raid Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays. But Miranda, you play hockey on Thursdays because you're awesome and like Canada, right? Because you're awesome. So maybe this guild won't work for you because of your hockey obligation, or you might have to move hockey to a different day. Totally up to you. Or you go line dancing on Wednesdays. I don't know what you Americans do, but it's probably line dancing. So here, this is a great explanation of a guild here. They're one of the oldest guilds in Scarlet Crusade, raiding facilities in the Molten Core. That's fantastic. On the off nights, they can see activity including PvP, heroics, challenges, achievement, rep raids. Officers are more than willing to facilitate alternative progression, and players are encouraged to express their interest in this area. I love how well written that is. That sounds like an adult wrote it and not some 12-year-old. That's fantastic. They're a pretty welcoming community. We attempt to maximize our rating time before not to recruit those that can be both mature and reliable. So not to recruit. They do recruit those people. Having less than optimal gear does not trouble us as much as having a bad attitude. Good. So they don't want to have those little shit kids with a bad attitude that are awesome players. They care more about people. Like, I know Miranda's a really good person. Miranda's been around in chat here for a long ass time, and I think Miranda would do really well in this guild. I mean, just from at a glance here. So this might be a good guild for her to apply to. Well, how do you apply? So let's look at one more here. Who? I don't care about your transmogs right now. Line of the Sun. Actual Mythic. Sure, Line of the Sun. Why don't you link me your armory as well? Why not? Let's get a couple viewers and a couple subs. I know I'm not watching hockey right now. I know, but don't worry. I have an NHL tab here. Let me check the scores really quick while I'm doing my coach's corner. Damn it! The Islanders won. Damn it. Vancouver's winning. They might stave off elimination. Detroit won. No surprise from Detroit. Chicago and Nashville are tied. Okay. So, back to our little thing here. So this might be a good guild for Miranda to go to. You found a guild. Now what? Okay, now what? Well, what do you do now? Oh, Nate. Now Miranda's such a thing to say. Okay, Nate's around. Perfect. Okay, whatever. Anyway, let's say you guys are, I don't know. Let me pick somebody else here. This guy is, yeah, heroic, maybe. Same thing, wants to jump into Mythic. I just joined a raiding guild. Take a look here. That's good. I mean, those of you that just joined in with the guild or a heroic raiding guild, you got to start somewhere, right? You got to work your way up. And I know a lot of you guys give me this question here on chat, where you guys ask me, "Hey, you know what? I want to do more. I want to do more raiding, but I've made so many friends in this guild. They're such awesome people. You know, they might not be the best raiders, but they're like damn good people. I love hanging out with them. I don't want to leave them. I don't want to leave them in a bind. What do I do?" If you want, like, you guys pay $15 a month for this game, or 25,000 gold a month. If you want to raid and that's where your aspirations lie, go there. Totally go there. Your friends will still be your friends, regardless of you going to a different guild. If you're going to move on to different things, that's fine. Let them know ahead of time. Don't leave in the middle of the night. Sorry, friends, I'm leaving. It's really a cowardly thing to do, and only little shits do that. Like, if you're 12 years old, if the dick the size of a thimble, that's what you do in the middle of the night. You leave a guild. But let them know. Hey, you know what, guys? I want to do more raiding. I know this is a really casual guild, but I want to do heroic and eventually mythic raiding. I need to move on. I'm going to give you guys a couple more days if you need to find a replacement or something. But try to leave on good terms. Whenever you're leaving a guild or a job, always try to leave on good terms. Don't burn bridges. So, going into your mythic guilds, what was I talking about here? One sec. Okay, there's Line of the Suns. Okay, we'll look at Line of the Suns for the last one here. So we'll pull off Line of the Sun here. Oh, what's I talking about? Leaving guilds. Moving on. Something like that. Character. Is Summon Stone the new go-to site? If that's Midwinter site, then yes, I'm pretty sure. I couldn't remember what Midwinter site was. The new thing. Because No Shuttle was... I don't know. I can't talk about it. Oh yes, you leave guilds. So, with the advent of normal and heroic raiding, you can still raid with your friends. You can still do dungeons and stuff with your friends cross-realm. But if you want to raid with a new guild, you might have to go to your new guild server, or to your actual new guild, and join them. Sorry, that was my point. So, your friends will still be your friends. If they're your actual friends, that's fine. I've had players move on, and we still keep in touch because they're damn good players. I've seen some of you guys move on, and you still keep in touch because we're still good friends. We're still part of the community. But let's say some of you guys have applied to my guild. You didn't make it for attendance reasons. By attendance, I mean like you got a new job or something. And that's fine. That's okay. It's okay to leave a guild for that. It's okay. You still remain friends afterwards. Yeah, it's that. That's the one. Summoning Stone is a new website. Yeah, that's the new go-to best resource. That's the one I looked at a couple weeks ago when they asked me to proofread it. Excuse me. That's why Skullflower really post on there. Yeah, Summoning Stone. That would be the one. Anyway, I don't know how much advertisement they want, but it'll be one of the best ones. Okay. So Line in the Sun. This last one here. I'll clear log on my horde character there. He is a 3 out of 10 Mythic Raider. He wants, let's say, potentially do more Mythic raiding. So if you're 3 out of 10, your aspiration should be higher. You're also on EU, aren't you? Yeah, you're on EU as a human. Perfect. So go back to Wild Progress here. Let's look for potential guild for you here. Line in the Sun. Okay, you're a Windwalker Monk. So now, with monks in certain classes, it gives you a little bit more choice. Let's say you want to be Alliance, because glory to the Alliance, and you want to raid 3 days a week now. You want to speak English, because there's German guilds and French guilds and that kind of stuff. But they're looking for a monk. But what kind of monk? Well, you want to stay Windwalker despite all their nerfs in 6.2. These are all the guilds that are looking for a Windwalker monk that are rating on EU, Alliance, 3 days a week, and speak English. You're 3 out of 10 Mythic right now. You might want to start looking for a guild that is potentially 5 or 6 out of 10 Mythic. Maybe one of these guilds here. Some of these guilds haven't cleared, Korag and Imperator, but they've got right into to Mythic Blackhawk Foundry, which is, that's fine too. So let's look at this one, Fatal on Ravencrest, choosing these guilds randomly. They're recruiting all classes. They're semi-hardcore. Always looking for skilled people. They raid Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. That's a little bit more about them. Let's look for another guild here. Let's look for whatever this name is. They're looking for monks, healers. Looking for a melee DPS rogue. Some more information about them. So basically, this is how you find that guild. WoW Progress again is a fantastic website for looking for a guild or recruiting for your own guild. It shows you exactly what I'm recruiting as well. So lots of opportunities there for you guys. Now you found a guild. What next? Well, next you might want to start applying to a guild. And I know that's a really foreign concept for a lot of you guys, where like, hey, this is a friggin' game. Why should I apply to a guild? Like, why? It's not a job, right? If it's a job, you shouldn't be playing. Right. But you might have to apply. It's sort of like trying out for a team. They're gonna try you out and see if you're awesome, if you know your stuff, like if you got carried through normals and heroics, are you ready for mythics? But you need to apply to a guild, and each guild has their own application process, whether it be just like a quick interview, a quick chat in game, a quick chat on Mumble or TeamSpeak or Ventrilo or whatever, applying to the guild on the forums or through an email account or whatever. My guild, for example, we have a pretty thorough weeding out process, and that's really to protect our guild. Yeah, it's just to protect our guild from from wasting a lot of time and us wasting somebody else's time for someone that is not the right fit for us. So people apply to our guild, and they fill out an application. The more thorough the applications, the better they are for sure. Spend time on application. If you guys spend 5 minutes on application, I will spend 30 seconds reading it. And who do I take? Do I take the one Windwalker monk lying in the sun that spent 30 minutes writing something out, like showing us his passion for Warcraft, his passion for his character, or for the guy that gave us 5-word answers for each question? It's there to weed out the people that want to put in the effort. That's it. The content of the answers, not super important. It is relatively important, but it's really how much passion you put into the character, how much effort you're going to put into the guild as well. Best application process are a box saying, tell us what we should know. That's a great one too. Like, every guild is different. Some guilds have, really good personality questions. And I've mentioned this in the past. We've had all kinds of personality questions like, what is best in life? People are like, I love video gaming. Video gaming is my life. Other people are like, bitches. I love bitches and coke. I play some Warcraft on the side. Then I scream at these people because they're all friggin' noobs. Other people give us the proper Conan response, which is, to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women. That is best in life. And obviously that gets bonus points. Some questions weed out certain personalities. If you're a very mature guild, and, mature being relative, right? If you're a mature guild, and I asked you, what do you do in your spare time, right? We have one of these questions in our apps. If you tell me, like, you just watch Pornhub and you just fap all day long, that's great, but that's not going to get you in the guild. Like, you do that on your own time, but it's not something you should tell your prospective guild, your prospective family. I don't care what you do in your spare time. I don't. That is your alone time. That is not guild time. Maybe there are some guilds like that, but that is not my guild, so you might not be a good fit for my guild. So these applications should be pretty thorough. I can give you... I've done a couple coaches' corners where I applied to Tally's Wildstar guild, for example, and I'll show you guys my application process here. Application facts. Let me see here. Application requirements. I have some couple of really good examples for you guys for for what is a good application, what is a bad one. This is our application in a nutshell. You know, player name, class, like these are all really easy stuff. Just fill it out for us. Just fill out the blanks. We care about people's real name. Not that we're gonna, you know, hunt you down and like, hey, I know where this guy lives now. We want to know people's ages, right? Like we want to know relative age. Where are we gonna have a concern with this person being 12 years old and they don't have full control of their internet connection or their computer, or is this person 90 years old and they move really, really slowly out of the fire, like very, very slowly. You know, that's just a very generalization. I'm sure old people move really fast out of fire. Where they live, you know, it's sort of important, sort of not. I mean, if somebody's applying from Australia to U.S. servers and they're not on Oceanic servers, there might be a ping issue. Let me zoom in this for you guys. There, I'll zoom in for a bit. Do you have a microphone? Obviously, the answer should be yes. If you don't have a microphone, you shouldn't apply to normal or heroic guilds. Previous MMO experience. This is, I think, pretty relevant for those of you that have played EverQuest or other relevant MMOs that were competitive. Previous guilds, reason for leaving previous guilds. Guilds sucked. Guilds all a bunch of noobs. I left them to go for better places. Not a great, you know, thing. Tell us why. Did the guilds fall apart? What happened? You know, is there drama we should know about? You know, just tell us everything, right? The more you write an application, the better. Previous 40, 25, 10-man experience, right? I guess I can amend this later on. But tell us your experience. Did you write in vanilla? You know, you're applying to my guild, and you write in vanilla and BC, and then you stop playing because then you had kids, and now your kids are a little bit grown, and you want to go back to competitive rating. Tell me what you did. Were you a top US 50 raider back then, and you still have the drive and the time? I mean, the game's changed a lot. Some people don't adapt as well, right? Like Kungan, for example, had a rough time adjusting to the new tanking system and the new tanking methods since the last time we played. What do you expect of us? You know, please link relevant logs. Now, we get into logs here shortly. We also had a really great Logs Coach's Corner on how to log. When you guys apply to heroic guilds, and especially mythic guilds, you better have a log. Like, let me try to think. Sort of akin to applying to a job without, I don't know, any kind of schooling experience, right? Any kind of anything. Like you don't know anything, right? If you're really undergeared, it's fine to be undergeared and applying to a guild, right? It's totally fine. Your logs will show how awesome you are or how much more work you need to do. Logs, which are parses through Warcraft logs. People don't really use World of Logs anymore. Warcraft logs show your up times, how much damage you take, what you died to, did you use a health potion before you died, what cooldowns you used, when you used your cooldowns, when you cast every single spell, and those things are broken apart by really good players, and we can sort of see, well, why did you cast this? Why did you cast a slow Holy Radiance without Infusion of Light? Why would you do that? Right? What good reasoning would you have there? So that's part of it. I mean, logs are pretty effective. When we do our raids as viewers and as subs and stuff like that, you know, I do logs for you guys. I will post my logs, or my viewers will have logs for you guys, and we post them on our forums. Question here, do you take people who haven't put in an application? No, we do not. No, we do not. It's, why? Why can't I do that? Like, I've been around for 10 years, and this is a quick little tangent here. My guild's been around for 10 years. We're one of the most respected guilds, I don't know, in the game, server. We've been around for a long time. And we're known for being good players and good people. I can't accept just anybody. You'd have to apply for a raider rank, or you apply for more of the friend or social rank here. We've got a few of them in the guild. These are friends. They are sponsored by somebody in the guild. You know, somebody in the guild sponsored these guys and said, hey, I'm going to put my membership on the line and vouch for these guys. They're not an asshat. They're not. Yeah, right, as I am. Yeah, I'll do that later, Roshi. Sounds good. Sorry, streaming. Okay. So, you know, other things. What kind of attendance do you have in a 30-day period? If you told me 100% in this 30-day period, I would say bullshit. There is no way any one of you on stream here, or those of you watching, can guarantee 100% attendance. There is no possible way. Things happen. Like I told you guys, real life happens. You get stuck at work, stuck behind traffic. You're going to be late to a raid. You might miss something. You know, your internet goes out. Your power goes out. Friggin' earthquake. God, I feel so bad for people in Nepal right now. They can't raid. it's making light of the situation, but yeah, it's a terrible earthquake there. How often do you experience computer network related issues? Like once in a while, sometimes. Do you have like a really shitty potato internet connection? Do you live off in the boonies in Arkansas where you deal with a dial-up connection still? Or are you still on AOL? That's sort of what we want to know here. This is more of one of our personality questions that we're going to change around soon. You fall down the bottomless pit, what do you do? The answer is not FAP. You don't FAP. You do anything but FAP. You do, you know, contemplate the meaning of the universe or tell us how this is not possible. I don't care, but you don't FAP. How did you hear about us, your availability, you know, what hours you play, and that kind of stuff. So that's generally our rough application there. So I've had 100% attendance connection so far. Well, you're lucky. You are 100% lucky. I've had internet connection issues since moving to my new place, or I have moved, right? So, if I had the gear but not the track record of rating the recent content, how do you see me being able to get into a guild that is rating a high level? Through Warcraft logs, young serial. Warcraft logs are fantastic. Let me pull up Warcraft logs really quickly for you guys. I know I'm getting off to a tangent here. It's supposed to be a much shorter Coach's Corner. But here's my personal logs from, I don't know, sub-raid. Here we go. This is a sub-raid that I brought you guys in on. This shows you your rankings, how you ranked on something like, this is a good one, Flamebender. Who did really well on Flamebender? Well, some of like Rayo Komite here, he played a Blood DK, did awesome damage. Some of these guys were alts or whatever, you know, how they ranked. You know, your uptimes, I'm trying to remember, for example, you know, your Eternal Flame uptime or your uptime on, I don't know, Slice and Dice for rogues. What do rogues use these days? Or your bleed uptimes for a feral. Those things I can track. So to young serial, someone like you, someone that's undergeared, knows his shit. Like if you know your stuff inside and out, and there's been a couple of instances where I've accepted players that were in blues. I pulled them right into heroic rating. I threw gear at them because I knew they were great personality. I had that gut feeling. They were great. They knew their stuff. They interviewed well, and we interview people as well to make sure like they don't slip through the cracks. We threw them right into rating, threw gear at them, geared them up in a couple of weeks, and they were just right in there. They were totally fine. So we can see bleed uptimes, for example. You know, I can pull up Fireleaf here. Where is he? Fireleaf here. Let's go to damage. See, these are sparses. That's fine. I don't want to go to rankings. I want to go back to damage here. Analyze. Analyze damage done. Let's look at Fireleaf. Let's look at his debuffs, exhaustion buffs. Right, his defensive buffs, his damage buffs here. When he Savage Roar, all this stuff. When he Tiger's Fury, how many he used them. This shows me exactly every single Tiger's Fury that he hit and at what time relative to, you know, when he used a potion. So he used a potion right here. Where's his potion? He used 2 potions, one at the start, so he pre-potted, and he used a second potion here, along with his cooldowns. Here's his incandescence, his ring proc, all that stuff. So logs show you a lot. These can be broken down a lot and show you exactly how good of a player you are relative to other players. So that's a little bit of Warcraft logs. I had other Warcraft logs. I'm not going to go into it too much now. I had a whole 3-hour segment on how to read these, how to analyze them, how to improve yourselves as players. So, what else here? Thank you so much. I have everything. That's awesome. Good. That's awesome, Sparkman. That's fantastic. So it's a lot. I mean, it does show you a lot, but you put in that extra work, right? I got to spend my guild currently by proving myself above another Windwalker. I used my logs, but we were both fairly equal. So I linked spreadsheets and I had my... Okay, so this is a really great example here. So Lion in the Sun, he's now in a 3 out of 10 Mythic guild. He got a spot in his current guild by proving himself above the other Windwalker. He took somebody else's spot. That's competition. You need to have that kind of drive. That's exactly what you want as a Mythic Raider. That's fantastic. He used his logs. So the Warcraft logs I just showed you guys. Do I still have them open? No, I don't. So he used those like I just showed you, compared them to, you know, the other Windwalker and said, hey, this Windwalker is not keeping up his buffs or whatever. He's not using his abilities on cooldown. I'm doing that better than him. Here are my spreadsheet. Here's my research. This is why I'm better than the current guy. And now he's in a 3 out of 10 Mythic guild. That's awesome. He swept the leg, Johnny. Good job. Good job, Lion. That's fantastic. That's what you do. You want to be in that awesome guild, you take somebody's spot. You want to be in DJ's spot, you take Marksman's spot. You take, I don't know, Cub's spot. Whatever. You steal somebody's spot from them by showing you're a better player. That's one good aspect, but, you know, we want a whole complete player. Anyway, bosses. One sec here. I had made for the guild and my prep work for how the guild could do. Bosses based off me researching their logs, talking to them. That's awesome. So Lion in the Sun also went above and beyond and said, hey, I've gone through your entire guild's logs. These are some of the issues that your guild might be having. Here's some suggestions as well, because I'm pretty proficient with these Warcraft logs. It's a huge, huge asset, guys, to know how to read Warcraft logs. Like, it takes time to learn. I'm not an expert on them by any means. There's people that are much better than me because I don't have that coding or programming background. That's fantastic. Anyway, Warcraft logs are another great thing to use to apply into those guilds. Back to topic at hand here. So that is heroic rating in a nutshell. It's much more demanding. You might start using Warcraft logs now to analyze your damage a bit, your healing done. But getting into Mythic rating now. Now Mythic rating, and this is Lion in the Sun too, is a whole new ball game. So first of all, Mythic rating has a ton of new abilities. Not maybe a ton, but they're much more punishing. So, quick example of that is, let's say on Heroic and Normal, the bomb explodes after 4 seconds. On Mythic, the bomb explodes after 2 seconds, and it does way more damage. So much less room for error, first of all. There are also new mechanics introduced into the encounters. So if I pull up something like, let's see if this works here. Let's choose something like, I don't know, Chromog, yeah. So these are Chromog Normal's ability, right? On Chromog Mythic, he's got Runes of Trembling Earth. And basically the new mechanic on this fight is there are these 3 big runes. And as a Mythic Raider, or somebody getting to Mythic, you should know this. You are applying to a guild that has killed Chromog, or is working on Chromog, you better know that fight. Just a quick little aside there. So basically there are 3 runes that spawn, one after another. You have X amount of seconds to kill them. I can't remember how many seconds it is offhand. If you don't kill them, you're going to wipe. Because he does these 3 calls of the mountain. He does 1.27 million damage to everybody that's in his line of sight. The only way to mitigate that is hide behind these pillars that you just destroyed. So you should know that going into a Mythic guild. You've done that additional research. So the mechanics do change. The fight does change. Rather than Chromog just being, hey, jump in my big hands and, come let me fondle you. No, now there's big rules you need to deal with, right? And the other abilities, they do a ton more damage. So let's go through an example here. Where is it? The Reverberations on Chromog. They do 105,000 damage on normal, right? On Heroic, they do 158,000 damage. 50,000 damage more. Sounds pretty reasonable. On Mythic, they do 232,000 damage. So compared to normal, they do twice as much damage at least. It's a ton more damage. It is much more gear dependent, right? Like I wouldn't bring somebody that is fully in blues to Mythic Chromog unless they're going to buy a run from us or something like that. So, new abilities, you should learn them as well. What else here? Iron Maidens has a few here. With the later abilities, Volatile Orbs, that's one. Convulsive Shadows, that's another big one here you need to deal with. You should know some of these abilities and really how to counteract them. As a Mythic Raider, it's not just Mythic raiding. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to do some awesome raiding here and go fly somewhere else here. And I'm going to go, kill bosses. No. Like, it's a lot of prep work involved as well. So yeah, we talked about going through the videos and going through Dungeon Journal, Normal and Heroic. That's fine. On Mythic, you're now going through those logs. You're expected to have a decent understanding of Warcraft logs. Because by then, you should know what your uptimes are, why your healing is low, why your DPS is low or really high, where your fight's really excelling. If your HPS is low, why? Right? HPS isn't a make or break factor for a lot of players. Or it is, but it shouldn't be. HPS is pretty relative to how many healers you have, to how many people are taking damage. If I have more morons taking damage, my HPS will be a lot higher, which means my rankings will be a lot higher. But if my guild does a really good job by, dodging everything, my healing will be a lot lower because there'll be less potential damage to heal. Lots of factors, different conversation. Damage as well, like how much are you maximizing damage? As a boomkin on a fight like Beast Lord here, how much damage are you doing to the friggin' spears? You should be dotting them the crap up. As a Shadow Priest as well. If you're doing really low damage, are you maximizing damage on the ads? Right, on Mythic. There's a whole new phase to this fight too. There's Fault Line. There's one more beast on this fight. So you should know how the mechanics change from normal to heroic to, sorry, normal and heroic are the same to mythic, and be prepared for them. You should have general understand, like a good understanding of the fight and how the new strat's going to work. So you've watched plenty of videos, not just one. You know, as a mythic raider, someone that is like me, like lying in the center, like a bunch of you guys, I would expect you guys to watch a crap ton of videos on that fight, multiple perspectives of that fight. There's a ton more to learn. And then Warcraft logs. You know, when are they casting Heroism? Bloodlust for you Horde. When are they using their cooldowns? When are they using certain raid cooldowns? How are they using different cooldowns? If I pull up my one of my logs here, let me pull it up here. Let me pull up my Death Jesters logs. Where are they here? Not Black Hand. Let's go back for a second. Panzer. Perfect. Gruul. So, 20-man Mythic Gruul. So, I can take a look at here, and those of you that are new to Warcraft logs, this is great, where it shows you the problems of where your guild did well or not. Look, all these people used 2 potions. Branhista, Grifkin, and Sparty only used 1. I should have used 2 potions. I should have used a second in potion, to be fair. How many health stones or healing tonics they should have used? I'll be honest, guys, as heroic and mythic raiders, you guys should not be using health stones. Unless you're a warlock, you should not be using health stones. Why? They don't share a cooldown out anymore, first of all. Healing tonics restore more HP than health stones. That extra 20,000 HP adds up to a lot. Trust me. It's less healing done by the other raider, by your healers. That's really beneficial. So these are the guys that use potions. I know it was a really rough night for me as well. I think I died on this one. Yeah, I died to overwhelming blows. I'm just having a really bad night on Gruul. Who took avoidable damage here? Look, Sparty, me. I took a lot of avoidable damage there from all sources here. How much cave-in damage? I didn't stand. I took 2 ticks of cave-in here. Overhead smash. I got hit by overhead smash like a moron, or the boss was positioned weirdly. Shatter, you know, flares. I took a lot of flare damage too. It shows you exactly what you're doing poorly or really well. You know, it shows you what avoidable damage. So, Sparty here, this was a really bad fight for me. You know, you'll have bad fights, you'll have good fights. This was a really bad example of what I'm capable of. Now, with logs, and guilds are looking through this stuff, right? They're looking at, like, hey, this guy didn't use any health stones or health potions, and he died. Why? Why didn't he use a personal cooldown? Why didn't he use Divine Protection or his bubble before he died? That's really dumb. Or was it on cooldown? And a good guild can look through those kinds of things. Now, Inferno Slice. So, as a mythic raider, as a raid leader, I can tell what kind of strat this guild is using based off how many people are soaking. So, we know Inferno Slice. Let's look at the ability here really quick. I guess I can pull it up here. Inferno Slice, it does X amount of damage. It needs to have at least 4 targets or else you gain a lot of rage, right? That's how it works. Now, the Inferno Slice damage is split between players that are in that cone radius of Gruul. Let's see how many people took the slice here. So for the first slice, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next slice was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next slice was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's interesting. They're using 6, 6, 6 to soak it. That's fine. That makes a little bit of sense. But they have 20 people in a raid. How are they not soaking like that? Well, mages and rogues, for those of you that don't know, they can immunity the Inferno Slice and take 0 damage, which makes it really, really nice. Later on, you'll see that I miss an Inferno Slice because I bubbled them. I can't remember which one, but I bubbled one of them, which allowed me to take less damage too. So you can see how a guild's, you know, some guilds do a 2 groups take, so a group takes 2 stacks, another group takes 2 stacks kind of strat, not necessary. The easiest strat really is the 3 groups of 6 kind of strat for Gruul. Anyway, you can see those kinds of things. You can see like when I cast certain heals as well. Anyway, that's logs in a nutshell. We can talk about it more later on. So, moving on to more mythic raiding, but you should know those things. You know where to look to improve yourself as a mythic raider. Okay, moving on. Now, mythic raiding. You guys see a lot of, you see Slootbag, you see those really good streamers stream their mythic raids, and a lot of it is, is progression. A lot of it is just attempts. If you're in one of those top world guilds, you're grinding the crap out of those bosses. You're doing hundreds and hundreds of attempts. On normal and heroic, it might take you a few attempts to kill a boss. Plan on wiping hundreds of times to bosses on mythic. My guild has wiped close to 150 times on mythic Blackhand. Other bosses taking us 250 attempts. That's what it takes as a mythic raider. Be prepared for that mental block of like, this is frustrating, and then you got to log in. Like, you got to log in, and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I've seen that on a lot of bosses. I remember doing Mythic Beast Lord, the first boss on Mythic. I'm like, how is my guild ever going to do this? What the shit are they doing? There's nowhere close to enough damage. As we got a little bit more gear, the fight was, much easier. With more practice, people became more proficient. Raid survivability, raid awareness, those are all learned skills. If I show you guys, here, let me pull up another Warcraft Logs. Okay, this is Warcraft Logs again. Let me show you guys another thing here. Let's look at which wipe here. That was a good attempt. Let's look at this one. Now, here's something really cool about Warcraft Logs. It shows you where everybody was standing every single moment. This is how the whole fight played out. This is it. Right here, we have got a couple melee, we've got most of our ranged, where everybody's stacked, and you see Prime Time's a little bit close right now, you see Marksman's a little bit far out, you see Karnak also went into the raid here, everyone's going to shift left in a second here, watch this. They all start shifting left, besides Sparty. Sparty shifts to the right here, I bopped myself and I kept healing, it was just something I knew I was trying. The entire group shifts around there, the tank gets punted out backwards, that's Deadman, gets, knocked backwards by Blackhand, right here, the purple triangle, or the the maroon diamond looking thing. Anyway, that's how the entire fight works. Here we have to move out because we have a couple slag bombs nearby. These are little slag bombs right here. So Warcraft Logs, it shows you a replay of exactly what happened, where you were standing. So somebody says they weren't standing in the fire. Guess what? I can see that you were. I can see that you were out of position. Don't bullshit me. Anyway, this is a really cool replay feature that Warcraft Logs does. You do need to have, I guess, another tangent going in. If you go to System, now, guys, to enable that little replay feature, go to System, go to Network, go to Advanced Combat Log. That needs to be enabled in order for that replay feature and a number of other things to show up. So, just as an FYI. Okay, but Mythic raiding, a lot of it is just simple, it's prep work, it's analysis of logs of, okay, we died, we took this much damage. His enraged timer is 6 minutes. We're doing this much DPS. How much DPS do we need to do to kill him in 6 minutes, right? Based off his HP. You're doing the math, right? So-and-so is doing only so much damage. Well, they need to step up or they need to see what they're doing. Maybe it's a rotation thing. Maybe they're missing cooldowns. And those things are all the things you can check in Warcraft Logs. So, that's something else that's really cool. There you go. So a lot of, again, Mythic raiding is that prep work. It's, yeah, we raid 3-4 nights a week, but in between, after raid nights, we're debriefing. We're talking about our raid. We're talking about, what things can we change? Or in between attempts, you're looking at, the raid leader's looking at logs. This happened, this happened. How can we fix that? As raid leaders and guild leaders, we're problem solvers. We want to know what happened. I don't give a shit that you made a mistake. I don't care. What can I do to make it easier for the raid? That's what I care about. And I mentioned this a couple times to you guys. If you make mistakes, you're only human. Nobody's perfect. The top guilds in the world, some of you guys are in the top guilds in the world. I see, Midwinter players here. I see some of those Method players here as well in chat. They still wipe to farm bosses. Believe it or not, guys, they still make mistakes. They still wipe. Just because you're in a 3 out of 10 Mythic guild and you're wiping to a boss that's on farm, the top guilds in the world do it. You're not perfect. When you are learning those new encounters, when you are doing a new fight, a couple things. If you make a mistake, that's fine. Own up to it. Hey, you know what? I messed up there. My bad call. I was doing this, this, and this. I stood in the mine. I stood in the fire. I wasn't paying attention. I was tunnel vision to healing or DPS. I had a case of DPS-itis, whatever you want to call it. Make a mistake. Own up to it. Move on. That's it. We fix it for next time. A good raider would do that. That is the measure of a good raider. You make a mistake. I see what I did there. Let's do it again. I'll do better next time. Done. That is progression. That is what progression should be. A great raider. Well, I see someone like Fibrilo here. He stood in the fire because he was tunnel visioned, or because he was, I don't know, getting sects from somebody else or whatever. I see him make those mistakes. I know what he did. Like I don't need him to explain to me what he did. I know what he was out of position. I know he was in the wrong spot. I know he was distracted. As a great raider, I will pick up on that and make sure not to repeat his mistake. That is the measure of a good raider and a great raider. Look at other people messing up, making mistakes, learn from them. Because what's really annoying is when people if every single person in your raid makes the same mistake. So, Sparty died because of this. Okay, now Marksman died because of the same reason. Okay, now Psycho, now Towley, now Oloria, now Midgets, now Roshi, now everybody. Now they all stand dying to the same reason. Well, guys, come on. Can't we learn from each other's mistakes? That's being a great raider. Like, we know somebody else made a mistake. Let's learn from that as a group and move on. So as a heroic mythic raider, you should be able to pick up on those little things. And again, that is a learned trait. That is experience. That's situational awareness, right? All that decision making, all that stuff comes with time. Those of you that play a lot of FPS games, well, you know, right? Like, you know that it takes time to build up that, that twitch accuracy or whatever. Those 360 no scopes, whatever. It takes time to build that up. You don't like come out of, come fresh into this world with a little, controller in hand and a headset yelling obscenities, right? It takes time. It takes time to learn how to yell all those obscenities. So, moving on. So, mythic rating a little bit more. With mythic rating as well, like, we do additional steps. So, we talked about enchants and we talked about gems and that kind of stuff and talents. You know what? You should be changing talents and specs depending on the fight. If that means you're changing your entire talent setup for that fight, guess what? Suck it up, do it. If that means you got to rebind some of your keys every fight, tough shit, do it. You're now a mythic raider. You're no longer doing some sissy pants LFR rating. If you have to, I don't know, re-gem stuff, re-enchant things because now you're playing a different spec, that's what's going to happen. Do it. I know some of my apps did the exact same thing. One app played Resto for 9 out of the 10 mythic fights. Guess what? I need a boomkin for Blackhand. You're playing a mythic boomkin right now. Start getting your enchants and shit together. That's it. And you want help? I'll help you, sure. But you need to be putting in that extra effort. In addition, we're also using these runes. I know a lot of you guys have been fantastic on stream here, sending me these runes. Thank you. Keep sending them. These little focus runes, you get these from LFR. You buy them from the auction house. They're 50 intellect for 1 hour. It is a one-use consumable for 60 gold. I'm going through a stack of these a night on Blackhand Progression. It's thousands of gold I'm going through. Thanks to you guys, sending me the runes or my Gillies runes. We use something like this because that extra 50 int or that 50 strength or 50 agility, that makes a huge difference over the course of the entire fight. So, your heals do slightly more. You might save somebody's life, and again, they will not die. So instead of, them, I don't know, them being at 20%, they're now at 21%. So when they take 20% damage, they're going to live instead of dying, which is going to help you, right? And it's not going to hurt your DPS by them dying because you didn't put in all the effort. Excuse me. If somebody is, look, over the course of a 10-minute fight, 50 agility, 50 int can mean a lot. If you don't believe that, you guys have not wiped enough times. After hundreds of attempts to a certain boss, and your guild's getting frustrated and you're getting close into 1% wipe, but guess what? You didn't use a second potion. You didn't pre-pot. You didn't use a post-pot or like a potion mid-fight. You didn't use your arcane runes. You didn't use 125 stat foods. These things. You use 125 crit strike for an hour. Every single time. Those are the extra little things to get you over that hump. Those all contribute. Like, it's easy to fish. This shit is cheap, guys. Like, you shouldn't have gold issues as mythic raiders. Either you're selling runs or you're selling tokens. I don't care, right? But you should be putting in all the effort. That's the extra little bit that mythic raiders will put in there. Every single attempt, using your best foods, your best feasts, because why not, right? You don't go out there play hockey with a shitty, wooden stick. I go out there with my Synergy composite stick. That's how I play hockey, right? With my pink tape. Not black tape, pink tape, so I can see the puck better. So, there you go. So sorry guys, I haven't answered a lot of questions here. Ready? What if you're changing these specs and talents each fight, but others aren't making the kind of effort? Talk to them. Talk to your raid leader, your officer. Hey, you know what? We're trying to kill this boss. I'd like to see everybody else put in the same effort that I am. Right? There you go. Talk to them. Just don't be like, hey, you stupid dirtbag, I'm putting in all this effort and gold. Why aren't you? That's not how you talk to people either, right? Make sure that you're tactful and you approach them the right way. Hey, man, we really want to defeat this boss. Why aren't you running this spec? I've heard from other really good players that this spec, Spectral Guise, is really good for this fight. Or, going Clarity of Will or Words of Mending on this fight is also really good. Or maybe you want to run Hand of Purity over Clemency on this fight or Unbreakable Spirit. Right? Those are maybe little suggestions you want to give them. But don't be that, overbearing, hey, I know better than you kind of person. You go to the workshop without your hammer, there you go. Without your tool belt, of course, Innkeeper. So, are you saying they need to bring back the glow puck? Only if they're going to show it on Fox Luna. Only on Fox. Okay, so that is much of Mythic rating. So again, a lot of theory craft, a lot of work, a lot of effort, but it does take time. Hey, Nate, are you around? Nate, I'm going to log on TeamSpeak if you don't mind. Oh, one second, let me find Nate here.